Peace. Peace, peace. I am stopping to share, give a few more moments for a few people to join us, and then we're going to jump right into these few little things that are going on. Very controversial, I'm sure, title, subject that I'm not shying away from. I put a blog on my WordPress maybe 2 years ago. I go back and I share it often because I stand, peace. I stand very strong in my feelings about these particular things. So hello. Hey, please stop and share, especially to the sister women who are in your particular space. If you have a sisterhood or a sister group that you interact with, please stop and share this in your group. So I'm tagging a few sisters. Please do the same. It's important. Yoni Wellness, Yoni Health, Yoni Care is important. Thank you for the shares. Thank you. So, of course, I do offer the Yoni steams, and I speak a lot about Yoni steaming and how we take care of ourselves in a particular space of definitely holistically. Definitely from a holistic standpoint, I speak in that space. Thank you for the shares. Thank you so much. Yoni steaming, of course, is your holistic alternative to douching. Yes. And with the proper herbs and at the right temperature and the proper setting, yes, I endorse that fully. Know your source, know where your source is getting their steams from and the blend, and hopefully they've had some sort of herbal education as opposed to going on YouTube or on Google to find a recipe or get advice from someone, to get to the point to where you take your Yoni Health seriously. I say it all the time, and I stand on my soapbox and I yell it out. Your Yoni Health, your Yoni Wellness is very important. So when you're trusting it to someone, make sure they can tell you about astringent herbs and hydrating herbs and herbs that will help to tighten and tone your pelvic floor, your uterus wall, that kind of thing. Stay in that particular space. So now that we've got that out the way, let's go in, and please, questions. If you have them, comments, please let me know. And I'm going to address them. I respect everyone's point of view. I'm going to speak from a holistic place. I'm going to speak from knowledge, not from personal opinion. And I welcome your comments and things from a professional place, not from your personal space. So let's just set the boundaries in that space now. So, okay. And we're going to be real honest and real frank, and I want you to go through and think about what you're doing and what you're placing and where and why. Consider your source and that thing. So we're going to start with Yoni Pearls. My WordPress is there. I'm going to go and post it in the links in the comment. I'm going to post a link in the comments. Let me say it like that. I have not used the Yoni Pearl. I don't have a desire to use a Yoni Pearl, and it's because I don't agree with putting porous, absorbent, like moisture absorbing anything for long periods of time in a dark, damp place. Like your yoni, your vagina is a dark, damp place. It's going to be damp. It's designed to be damp. And so what you don't realize is that in that dark, damp place, your mold, your bacteria, your fungus is breeding and growing. And I understand that there have been several mentions of different things. Yes, of course, but we're going to just state the facts. I am not for putting, like if you have bread and you put it in because it's porous, right? You can just go as far as to say that bread is spongy, when it gets wet because it's absorbed the moisture. Crackers, anything that's porous, that's going to happen. So if you let it sweat, put it in a plastic bag and put it in the darkest and warmest point in your kitchen. Maybe in your spice cabinet next to the refrigerator, right? Because the refrigerator is going to throw a little bit of heat, and see what happens in 2 or 3 days. This is what I'm telling you to think about. If you're putting in Yoni Pearls and they're supposed to stay in for however long, right? Let's just think about what's going to happen in that dark, damp space in your yoni, in your vagina. Let's think about that. And even if they don't stay a full 3 days, if they stay a few hours, that's been long enough to exchange the porosity. And I'm not a fan of it. So I've never tried it. So I'm not going to speak to you from a place of experience. I'm going to let you know why I'm not going to use it, okay? And if you're using them, this is why I said, no, it's not for me. So let me read. Thinking about, but just could not. The pearls for years. I'm not for it, but yeah, okay for the Yoni things. I'm just reading, taking my time, because I don't want to miss any of your comments. The other thing is the amount of herbs that you use in a dehydrated space, as opposed to like your dried herbs, is what I'm saying, as opposed to your fresh herbs. What's the ratio? Do you use the same recipe? I mean, I'm just thinking, like, these are questions that if you're going to subscribe to it, commit to it, because you're subscribing to it if you're going to go ahead and use them. How does that happen, right? Have you did your conversions, that kind of thing? Hey, Stacy. Yeah, I spoke about them earlier at the very beginning. I'm going to speak about them again in great detail. I just want to, enjoy my soapbox time and let you know that there's some foolery going on. You got to just think about things for yourself. My other thing I want to talk about with the Yoni Pearls is they show, and I've seen pictures of tissue that's been discharged or released. And I'm saying, they're like, okay, well, this is a fibroid, or this was, this was a fibroid, or this was a cancerous tumor. And I'm saying, even if you go to the OB-GYN, who's a specialist and things like that, or if you come to someone like myself who's a holistic therapist with years and years of training and certifications and things, when you're looking at cellular things, like cancer is cellular, right? Fibroids are cellular. That has to be looked at under a microscope. You can't just look at this and say, oh, well, this was my fibroid because my OB-GYN said I had a fibroid. Well, if you take the time to look at the inside of your jaw, the inside of your jaw looks different than the outside of your jaw, because your inside is supposed to be moist. That's the moist area. Yeah. So you're going to lose moist tissue that looks different because it's from the inside of your body. Who's to say what you're missing? Who's to say? And I've spoken to someone who said the Yoni Pearls that they were using, the moment they inserted them into their vagina, it felt like Listerine. And I was like, woo! Child, Listerine? In such a sacred space, the alcohol content, the dryness that Listerine causes, I can definitely see why things are disconnecting from your body. And yes, you are passing tissue because you are drying them out, and so they're going to pass. They're going to disconnect. And then so even when I'm saying before how someone was telling me I had to treat a sister, and it took some time. She was gifted some pearls, and she did 3 pearls for 3 days, she said, and she was having some issues, which I understand, and she wasn't in a hurry to kind of run and say, okay, what's going on? She was just going to go with the flow kind of thing. And what she noticed was that she started feeling numbness, and I had to explain, sis, this is not going numb. This is what happens when your body begins to regain sensation. So the question becomes, how long has your pelvic floor, of all sensitive places, of all places that are due to be handled gently, and to have a response from that particular space is sacred. You know, that's supposed to be a highly sensitive, highly responsive area. And for that space to go numb, that's different, right? And I'm going to go as far as to say undesirable. I'm a newlywed, and that space can't be numb. And not just that I'm a newlywed, but because okay, I ain't even gonna try to convince you. Think about it. I want you to think about what people are saying to you, and think about what people are trying to offer you, and what people are telling you is safe and not safe. Because you won't eat from anyone's kitchen. Let the potluck come. And you want to know who cooked the wood, and you seen they have a cat and that kind of thing, or you see that their house is not tidy, or you notice that they have, some not so tidy stuff going on, or their food isn't so good in their home. You are not eating from them. That's that same energy. I don't know your history. I don't know your background. I don't know the area that the Yoni Pearls are made, or how they are dried, how they are packaged and shipped. How do you store them? Because even if they're stored and shipped in plastic, they're still going to sweat. So you may already be putting mold and mildew spores in your vagina. Sis, well, you need me. You're going to have to go ahead and schedule an appointment with me. You want to go to lilithshakti.com, and we're going to have to sit and have a consult, and we're going to have to see what's going on and get some things done, because you are doing some things that are unsafe and can have and cause long-term issues. There is not really much in that particular space that is not supposed to be there. And if you wanted to clear that space from things such as cancer, fibroids, and the polyps and things like that happen, then that's a dietary thing, and not just for you, but for your spouse. Let's start there. Let's just start there. That's a dietary thing. There is not a single test. When I've done my research, and I suggest you do it, there has not been a single test that shows that what these sisters are releasing from their womb space is cancerous, or the polyps, or the fibroids, or anything like that. That's not what's been proven to be released. It is cervical tissue. It is cervical tissue in some cases. In some cases, it's just made up pictures that are taken from somewhere else. So you have to be mindful of what you are allowing people to sell you. So let's stop and share again, because we're going to get into the tampons and other things as well. So share. Let's keep this energy going. And I also realize that sometimes our need to want to try things and get things up and going. I'm gonna tell you 100%. Be mindful of things that come as a fad. Herbal care, no matter what type of care, but herbal care does not usually come as a fad. And the sister asked about yoni steaming. Yoni steaming is as old as time, because before, when they did not have water, they did the yoni smudging, which would allow for the smoke of only certain herbs, not like leaves and dried grass and that kind of thing. Particular herbs that had particular properties, astringent properties. Thank you for the shares. Astringent properties, toning and tightening properties, not just smoke. That's the thing. So let's just thank you so much for the shares. So let's go into the tampons. Well, I really don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about any of this, honestly. I'd rather focus on the positive things, but I really have to go ahead and get things done together. Thank you, Kendra. The other thing I want to talk about, of course, is the tampons. Same thing. Same concept. It's just that they're the tampons that are meant to stay in this one solid tampon as opposed to the pearls with the herbs in them. Because from what I understand, the tampons have the herbs rolled on the inside, or they've been soaked into them. So I prefer to pass. I don't want any of that. Be mindful. Please be mindful of what you're doing to your body and who you are trusting with your wellness. Don't be afraid to say, listen, you studied herbs or something? What you study? Tell me about your background. Because I can give you names of herbologists that I've studied with, you know, and some I've studied with online, some I've studied with in person, right? And I've taught several classes, so more than just being a student, I'm a teacher as well. And so being a teacher allows you to also not just learn, but to interact more and then to heighten your skills. So I'm speaking from a place of knowledge, from a learned place, and I'm offering it in the spirit of betterment and wellness and healthcare, because pelvic floor numbness is a no-go. It's unsafe. It's painful. Imagine when your feet or your fingers like fall asleep, and then they start to wake up and you have pins and needles. Can you imagine a pins and needle sensation in your pelvic floor area? Do you know what your pelvic floor is? Take a moment. There you go. We'll go there. Yeah. And so when you're looking at things like that, you have to be very, very mindful of what's going on, what you're doing, how things move in space. What paths do you recommend? I don't, honestly. There's a variety out there. Different people have different issues with what they have going on physically. I don't recommend any. I'm not going to tell you that I'm good with the free flow thing. I just don't recommend any. Now that's true. Your truth. Thank you. Okay, so I got to read that again because that was information. Thank you. Knowing is the way. Thank you. No alternative facts here. Thank you. I had to read it a second time, so thank you for your patience in that. The other thing I want to talk about is I've seen a few pictures with people excited about this magic Yoni Juice, which is some type of a botanical water, like botanical meaning flowers, okay? Flower water that they're using for douching, right? Now let me tell you this, right? Anytime you have your flowers in the water, they're going to go rancid. They're not going to die, they're going rancid. It's a difference between your flowers wilting and dying and something different when it comes to your flowers going rancid. Right? That's why when you put, if you have flowers, you don't put the entire flower, the petal itself in water. You put the stem, in the water. So then what you're telling me is that you were douching with Yoni Juice, and Yoni Juice is rancid botanical water. I cannot. I won't interact with that in that particular space. I really want you guys to really think about what you are allowing yourself to be fed, what you are spending your money on, what you are being gifted, what you are receiving, and how you are treating your body. Sis, you deserve a whole lot more than that particular space. Okay. Now to answer the question about the yoni steaming. Yoni steaming, yes. But here's my thing about yoni steaming. You have to be careful with the steam. Yes, of course, because that area is sensitive, okay? And then you also have to be considerate about the type of herbs you're using and the purpose you are using them for, right? And then you have to know what your purpose of steaming is. So if you are steaming a menstrual cycle for cramp relief, then you don't use a regular yoni steam blend. because it's going to stimulate, right? You need a relaxing, calming. You don't need your uterus to cramp. The heat's going to do one thing, the herbs are going to do something else. So same questions, like, okay, you said the herbs before, where you get your herbs from? That kind of thing, right? And then do you use sprays? If you grow your herbs yourself, do you use sprays? Pesticides, and don't be ashamed to ask those type of things, right? And are they local? Because you have to also realize that some herbs grown in different places, they're cross-pollinated, and then if you have allergies and you're steaming with something that in that particular space. So I want to go back and answer a few questions. So give me a second. Do yoni herbs expire? They do. Because sometimes your herbs are in a plastic bag. They're going to sweat. So I suggest storing your herbs. If you get them from Holistic Therapist Lilith Shakti, they're in a mesh bag. But that mesh bag can be put in a Ziploc bag. And that Ziploc bag can be put in the freezer. Okay? Peace. That's the thing about that. And know how much water, like no matter where you get your herbs from, you need to know what the proportion of herbs to water is, like liquid is, and I'm saying water, so that you don't use it too concentrated or you don't use it too weak, so that it's not medicinal or therapeutic. Let me say that, so that it's not therapeutic. It has to be therapeutic. It definitely has to be therapeutic. Never heard of Yoni Juice. Well, honey, it's there out there. Magic, yes. Yes, that's Stacy. You will have a bloom of molds. I agree. So, I think I went back as far as I could reading the comments. Thank you for your patience, of course, again. Be mindful. Be aware. Okay, don't just go with things because it's trendy, it's a fad, it's something new. Be mindful, and especially when you're working with your Yoni steam herbs. If you cannot make a cup of the Yoni steam herbs of tea to drink, then you can't steam with them, because that means that there's something in there that's toxic or poisonous, as within, so without. And when I steam, or when I offer a steam to someone who comes to me to get a steam, you're going to have a cup of tea. That tea is the exact same blend of steam that you are using to steam for your wellness. That's it. Yeah, you'll get some alkaline water afterwards, but be mindful. Please don't let just anyone sell you things. And I'm going to save this video and make this video public, and I want you to post it. And I just want to be knowledgeable and therapeutic. I'm a holistic therapist, okay? And womb wellness is my thing. I've been in womb wellness for several years. If somebody needed to come and sit with me, and we can sit and talk, and we can share knowledge to the point that you learn and you grow, I don't mind it. I mentor in womb wellness. I'm a holistic therapist. I'm a doula. I'm a mommy doula. I've gotten way past doula to catch the baby. I offer you a 9-week service of pre, during, and postpartum. So I'm there before you even go into labor. I'm there with you as you go into labor and stay through labor. And I'm there with you at the hospital, at the birthing center, or wherever it is that your doctor, your doula, your midwife, or whoever is going to deliver your baby, wherever they're going to deliver your baby, I'm there with you. You go into labor at home? Okay, I'm home, and we're going to wherever we're going, to the doctor, to the hospital, to the birthing center. However you're going is how I'm going. So if you're going in the ambulance, I'm going in the ambulance with you, and whoever, right? Whoever your birth coach is. Like sometimes it's your partner, sometimes it's your mom that you want to be there with you. Fine. When the baby comes, I'm there with you. Breathe. We're gonna get it together. The most important thing is that I'm there to ensure that you have the birthing experience that you deserve, that you want. I am there to be your voice when you don't have a voice. And then even also afterwards, do you realize high percentage of women in 2016 and 2017, and the numbers aren't out for 2018 completely as of yet, who suffer from postpartum depression. Imagine if you had a doula with you to just say, listen, I'm here to make sure that you eat, and that I'm going to hold the baby while you go and take a bath or take a shower, or you just have a breather, or I'm here for a couple of hours, go take a nap. You need that in your space because everybody's there to see the baby. Look at the baby, beautiful baby. But what about you? You know, that's where I am. That's what I do. So I'm going to dismiss and end this because I have another live. So when you finish here, join me on this other live for this virtual pop-up shop. I have a ton of things. We're going to be live for probably about an hour, getting some things done. But at the same time, if you need me, you can go to lilithshakti.com. You can message me and let me know. Lilith, I use the pearls, and I have some of these same issues. I need to get myself together. Or I bought a steam, and I had something like a little burn, which is probably we call it a chemical burn because the chemical reaction. My pH level has not been the same since. You need me. lilithshakti.com, or you can message me on whatever form you're seeing me at with the hashtag I am Lilith Shakti. Peace and high vibes to you.